Hello, my name is Dawn Lucas, and today I will be talking about turtles. I will first discuss a few species of North American turtles and why we should care about protecting them, despite the fact that none of these species are considered to be endangered, or in other words, at risk of becoming extinct. I will then explain why we should care about protecting endangered species of plants and animals. Finally, I will provide some possible ways in which we can protect our planet's turtles. The snapping turtle can be found in fresh water from southern Alberta east to Nova Scotia and as far south as the Gulf of Mexico and central Texas. They can live up to 30 years in the wild and can reach weights of 4 to 16 kilograms and lengths of 20 to 45 centimeters. Once they reach a certain size, they have few predators other than humans. The smooth soft-shelled turtle is found in fresh water as well. Their habitat is in the central and southern United States, from Pennsylvania to New Mexico and as far south as the Florida Panhandle. Their lifespan is from 11 to 20 years, and they grow to lengths from 11 to 35 centimeters. There are two subspecies of this turtle, the Midland smooth softshell and the Gulf Coast smooth softshell. Although they can move quickly, they do have predators other than humans, including snakes, birds, other turtles, and some mammals. The spiny soft-shelled turtles are also found in fresh water and inhabit central to eastern United States, from western New York and South Carolina to Wisconsin, Minnesota, and southern Ontario, and as far south as Mexico. They can live up to 50 years and can grow from 12 to 48 centimeters. Spiny softshells have predators similar to those of the smooth softshells, including humans. Although none of these turtles are currently considered endangered, in 2014 it was proposed by the United States Fish and Wildlife Service to provide these animals with protection through CITES, the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. I will talk more about CITES later in this discussion. So, why would we want to offer protection of these species if they are not considered endangered? Due to issues such as habitat loss and human use of the animals, including pets, food, medicines, and products like instruments, jewelry, clothing, and decorations, there is potential for them to become endangered. The demand in Asia for turtle species is higher now than ever before because of the increased buying power of their increasing middle class. As turtle populations are depleted in Asia, species in the United States and other countries are being targeted to meet Asian demands. In November of 2014, over 1,000 dead endangered sea turtles were seized in Vietnam. This shipment was headed to China. In September of 2014, a man was busted at a tunnel connecting Detroit, USA to Windsor, Canada. He was a repeat offender who in this instance was trying to smuggle 51 live turtles from one country to the other in order to meet demand and generate profits. So why should we care if species become endangered? And why should we care about endangered species? This drawing is an example of an ecosystem. An ecosystem is a biological community of interacting organisms in the physical environment in which they live. All organisms in an ecosystem rely on each other in order to survive. This drawing is an example of a simple food web. It shows eagles eating turtles, turtles eating worms, and worms eating dead plants. If one organism is taken out of the ecosystem may no longer function naturally. As humans, we rely on naturally functioning ecosystems in many ways, including food, water, climate regulation, and recreation and tourism. Another reason to care about protecting turtles is that they are one piece of the multi-billion-dollar annual illegal trade in wildlife and their parts. The United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime considers this illegal trade as one of the top transnational crimes in the world, with possible links and contributions to other organized crime. I mentioned earlier that I would further discuss CITES. In order to address the growing threat of illegal take and trade of the snapping turtle, smooth soft-shelled turtle, and spiny soft-shelled turtle, as well as 44 species of freshwater turtles in Asia, the United States Fish and Wildlife Service proposed listing these species under CITES protection. This occurred in 2014. If granted, this protection would provide regulatory agencies with the authority to better monitor trade, determine legality of exports, and decide whether additional conservation efforts are needed, including habitat protection. It would also require exporters to obtain permits, which are currently not required for species that have no legal protection. Creating policies and agreements from the local to the international level through collaboration of stakeholders and experts in multiple disciplines may be key to protecting turtles and other species of animals and plants. Then, enforcement of the policies will be needed. The enforcement is more likely to be successful if it is cross-jurisdictional while promoting collaboration and transparency. When enforcement officers or agencies identify crimes, prosecution of offenders will be necessary, and penalties will be more effective in deterring repeat offenders if the penalties outweigh potential gain obtained through offending. Finally, when crimes do occur and offenders are caught and prosecuted, the publicizing of prosecution could help to convey the risk of being caught to would-be offenders. If people perceive a high risk of being caught and a high risk of harsh punishment when caught, then they may choose to not commit a crime. In response to the previously mentioned shipment of 1,000 dead sea turtles, the director of the conservation group, Education for Nature, Vietnam, said that the raid must be followed by penalties. Courts need to send the message that they are serious about prosecuting and punishing crimes involving endangered species. Here is one example from the media that tells of the prosecution of wildlife traffickers. Although there is research that says the implementation of these propositions has been and can be successful, when we talk about the trade in turtles and other wildlife and environmental crimes, we are talking about very complex issues, and our understanding of these issues could grow as more research is conducted in cross-jurisdictional studies such as conservation criminology. This is something that I suggest looking into if you are interested. Some argue that the foundation of conservation may be the education of consumers. Without the demand for these products, there may be no reason for people to participate in illegal activities in order to provide the supply. Community engagement and education through roundtable sessions and outreach could promote environmentally conscious consumers who choose to contribute to decreasing wildlife and environmental harm. Pictured here are a few examples of brochures that provide information on wildlife products and crimes. They could potentially be posted in businesses, and other brochures aimed at youth could be presented at schools, camps, churches, and other community centers. I hope this has been an informative presentation. Thank you for listening.